Welcome to this week's episode of Insaka. And this week, my co-host, Philip Hunt, is not with us. In fact, he's not going to be with us for the next two episodes. He is away in the States for official CABU business. But to help me discuss today's topic is my good friend, Pastor Chopo Mwanza. Pastor Chopo, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Good. Yeah. So today we are discussing a very interesting subject, and the subject, I must say, that is rarely talked about, but we consider it very important. We are looking at the topic internship in the context of pastoral training. Pastor Mwanza, that's our topic for the day.
Yep.
So let's get started by defining what internship is, and of course in the context of pastoral training in the local church.
Yeah. Internship in the local church, or others would say mentorship, or, is in essence discipleship with the goal of training pastors for ministry. And you get this, in 2 Timothy chapter 2.
Okay.
The Apostle Paul writing there says, "You therefore, my son," in reference to Timothy, "be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus, and the things that you have heard from me among many witnesses, commit these to faithful men who will be able to teach others also." And so you have this idea, this concept of training, of discipleship, where there is intentional teaching and training of men with the goal that they too go on to train others. So Paul intentionally trained Timothy, and Timothy was then to train other men, and the other men were also to train other men. And this is often used to support, the existence of training institutions, Bible colleges, seminaries, institutes, etc., etc. And that's true on a secondary level. But when Paul is writing, he's thinking in the context of a local church, where those who are ministers in the local church are intentional in training other men for the work of the ministry. And later on, so in the same book, Paul then says to Timothy in chapter 3, verse 10, "But you have carefully followed my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long-suffering, love, perseverance, persecutions, afflictions, which happened to me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Lystra, what persecutions I endured." And so you have a model of how that is to be done. So Paul is saying to Timothy, I have trained you because you followed my doctrine, meaning the teaching. So he was taught he in the word of God, in the doctrines of the faith. But Timothy also observed. He saw Paul live out his life and Paul carry out various aspects of ministry, such that at an appropriate time, Paul was able to now entrust Timothy and leave him with the work of ministry at Ephesus. And later on, he did the same with Titus, sent him to go and oversee the work at Crete, because they have heard, they have been taught, and they have been exposed. And that's what internship in pastoral ministry is supposed to do in the context of a local church.
It's interesting that you mention that the very texts that you read are the ones that Bible institutions use to support their existence. I must say that here at CABU, we actually heavily rely on those texts as well. But then we have acknowledged the place of the local church. And in fact, what we do say is that we come alongside the local church to help them accomplish what they should be doing for their mission.
Absolutely.
So, that said, It's therefore very important in context that Bible institutions work alongside the local church, even perhaps in what we are talking about as internship. Okay, so three things I got from the definition there, or the description. So you have this body of truth, which we would call the faith, which has to be committed to other faithful men who will be able to do the same, so that goes on and on and on. In other words, there should always be this preservation of the body of truth, and key in that preservation are faithful men who, commit these things to other faithful men. Then you referred to Paul and Timothy, and basically what he's talking about there is life being shared. He says we did life together. You saw how it was done. And according to Paul, you are thus equipped. So very, very key things in internship. Men being prepared for pastoral ministry have to be brought in the inner circle. They have to be brought to the battlefront, if you like, of the ministry, so that they see how it is done. In fact, they do it with you, in a sense. Okay. So with that said, would you briefly maybe share how it is done at Faith Baptist Church of Riverside? What exactly goes on with the internship at Faith Baptist Church Riverside?
I'm a beneficiary of a church internship, pastoral internship. And I was greatly blessed and impacted by it. And so
you interned at Kabwata Baptist Church. Okay.
Yes. And basically, what they seek to do is give you exposure to the various aspects of ministry. They give you a hands-on experience, so that you get the know-how. You acquire the necessary tools. When you go to Bible college, you kind of have the theory.
Yes.
So it's one thing, for instance, I teach counseling. It's one thing to learn about the principles of counseling in a classroom and write a paper on it. It's another thing to sit across someone and begin to counsel them. And that's what
in the real world, with the real person, with the real situation.
Yes, and all the heartaches and emotions, etc. Just like it's one thing to have a theology of baptism, it's another thing to actually get to baptize people. So that's what that's what I got. And I got some of those exposure, some of that exposure at Faith as well. So what we seek to do is do exactly that: give exposure to guys, but also help them think through the various aspects of ministry. Just the practical nitty-gritties, and get to help them think rightly about the church. Have a proper understanding of church life, and practice. So that's kind of what we seek to do. So the guys will meet with the elders. They will sit in the elders meetings, in the deacons meetings. They will get the experience of how to plan church calendars, how to implement the plan, how to think through various issues. So basically we kind of try to give them as much exposure as they can, and gain the experience without being the one to be blamed for
for whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we do. A lot of exposure, while at the same time helping shape their thinking. So we do book review, read books, review them, read articles, review them, think through. We'll do sermon prep together, review sermons, and just kind of help them to provoke their thinking about issues and help them see why certain things, what things they should think about and how they should think about them.
Yeah, so I mean, I would basically say, internship is a critical component of training.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
you said, the classroom will give you the need, concepts, and how those principles now work in the real world. You actually need to be in the real world to appreciate those ideas and concepts. Perfect. So maybe let's end with this question. So then, why should churches seriously consider an internship program? Now, I must say, I have surveyed quite a number of churches, and there are very few churches that have an internship program. So what your word of encouragement, exhortation, rebuke to the churches.
Well, so what I would say first of all that churches train pastors. Bible colleges receive the products of local churches.
Yeah, true.
The more trained a student is from the local church, the more brilliant the student is going to be at a Bible college. There's a sense in which Bible colleges need churches to be doing this in order for them to excel at what they seek to do. So what you find is churches that are not intentional in investing in training and preparing men for ministry will struggle to find men for ministry. That's often, they will even struggle to have leaders among them because they are not intentional in doing it. And we have this false notion that it's the professionals who should train the pastors. So and we all we even think that the member of a church cannot train and prepare and help shape. But in actual fact, it's the body that invests and trains and prepares men for ministry, and therefore churches need to do that. I mean, if we are to have men to send for church planting and missions, we have to raise them up. If we have to have pastors, among us, if we have to have shepherds among us, we have to raise them up. We have to take the time to see the potential, see their ability, patiently work with that ability, give them a platform, give them the exposure, give them necessary tools, and part of that may be you send them to a Bible college and so that they acquire more tools, and when they return, you give them, you have a plan for their ministry. Churches need to do that.
Exactly.
And it's essential that they do that. Otherwise, what's going to happen is churches are always looking over their shoulder, people trying to see who they can get to come and be their pastor, who they can get to, like, let's say now there is a place for saying, but those churches that invest in training people have people for the work of ministry.
In fact, what I want us to do is next week to actually pick up, from that very point. We have churches that are behaving like corporate companies. When they need a pastor, they just start looking around, advertising, so to say. Okay? But you need to ask the question, who trained this pastor? Who prepared this pastor? If you haven't been preparing pastors, somebody prepared that pastor. So there's a sense in which all churches technically benefit from trained pastors, benefit from internship, even the ones that are not investing.
Yeah.
And maybe, I would say in internship, there's also a global perspective.
Exactly.
You are thinking beyond your church.
Yeah.
These men that you train, a church plant might make use of them.
Yeah.
That ministry might make use of them. So next week, we continue with the same topic. Do join us. See you.